What's up, everybody? Well, today I'm here to bring to you another vacuum that's in my vacuum collection. And as you may have guessed it, it's another Hoover Elite. I have said this once before and I will say it again. I am a big fan of Hoover Elites. They are probably my most favorite vacuum, and they were the vacuum that got me into collecting vacuums. And I always try to snatch one up whenever a good looking one comes across my path. And here I present to you a good example of a early 90s Hoover Elite. Here I present to you a Hoover Elite 2 Total System Performance 650. This is one of the later variants of the Hoover Elite 2, and one that I've been wanting to add to my collection for about a while for a couple of reasons. For one, yeah, it's a late model Elite that has a higher amperage motor that performs much better than even the early models with the lower amperage motors, although those run more quieter than these. And second, I wanted a square hood Elite 2. And second, I mostly wanted this model because I am a huge fan of this nice blue or powder blue color. It's probably my most favorite color in the Elite lineup. And if anyone could tell me what color this blue is, please let me know in the comments below. It's probably one of my most favorite colors in the Elite lineup. It just looks so nice and striking. So I ended up getting this vacuum on Facebook Marketplace that also included shipping. So I got this thing shipped down to where I live. And this showed up to me in somewhat good condition, although it was a little bit dirty, so I had to wash the outer bag. Although, yeah, some of the lettering did peel off while washing, which it's probably best if you hand wash these guys. If any of you have dirty outer bags and want to get them washed and cleaned up, I find it best to hand wash them, because if you do it around in a actual washer, even if it's on a delicate setting, sometimes you will run into situations where the lettering will just peel off. And sometimes it will just disintegrate altogether, so you're just left with nothing but the fabric. Which, that's not a major deal, but some piece of originality I want to preserve as much as possible. So I did that, and did replace a couple things on the vacuum. Like this one did needed another carpet height adjustment knob, because that tends to go missing on a lot of these Elites as they age. Luckily, the actual tab wasn't broken off, so I just bought a just generic black carpet height adjustment knob, slapped it on, and that pretty much fixed that. Then it does have a couple other things that it has, like attachments, which obviously I sourced from other Elites just for this video, so I will have to try and look for some more period correct attachments, but that will come in due time. So for now, let's go ahead and give a walkthrough of the cleaner. Right here on the top here, this is one of the variants that doesn't have the deluxe handle grip, even though this is one of the more higher end models of the Elites that has the side mount flex hose. So, but this one just doesn't come with the handle grip. It's not a major deal. So as we move along down here, this is one of the earlier models of Elites that has the gray colored bumper as well as the gray colored bag jackets top and bottom. Also, it's old enough, I should say, to have the zipper actually mounted on the right side, which obviously Hoover would move this zipper to the left to get better access to the bag, because for models that would have the plastic side mount hose, this tool rack would get in the way. The flex hose didn't have that much of an issue, although it was still a bit cumbersome to get the outer bag off. So eventually just do that to get access to your outer bag. The zipper, unfortunately, is partially busted, But this right here is actually a miracle fix that I managed to do to get this up and running. As you can see, part of the zipper right here is busted off. So I can't zip this thing too far or it'll just pop right off. And I'll be back to that mess I had before I repaired it. So I may have to source a new outer bag for this thing one of these days. But that's okay for now. At least you can get somewhat access to the outer bag from right here. Or the inner bag, I should say. Which, speaking of which, this is running a HEPA cloth Type A bag for increased filtration. And these definitely clean out much better than the genuine paper bags do at the time. While at the same time, you increase suction and airflow by quite a bit. And you'll just have better cleaning performance throughout the entire vacuuming process. Yep. The zipper is a bit messed up, so I may have to get a new outer bag for it. Even if it's a later style one, it just has to have this same blue color with textured material. I'd be perfectly okay if I could get one that has the left side zipper, since it'll be much easier to access the outer bag from that side, since the tool rack's not in the way. But eventually later I'll find that if I can manage to find one on eBay. So down here you do have your 4-position carpet height adjustment that, as you can see right here, is actually numbered instead of just having like short to tall bars to number your carpet height adjustments, which is a thing for these early model Elites to have them numbered. As you can see, the lowest settings for bare floor, which I don't recommend using this on because the brush hole does not turn off. I always leave it in the middle setting for the pile of this carpet. You see, it's the 4-level height adjustment. There's your Hoover Elite 2 lettering on the front. Total system performance 650. You have your Hoover symbol right over here. Brushed edge cleaning on both sides. And right over here you do have your tool door that you could flip up so you can use your cleaning tools and mount your hose in right here. So now let's go ahead and flip this thing underneath to show you the underside. So here is the brush roll in this. It is a dual row brush roll. The bristles are in pretty good shape. They are semi-worn, but the bristles do have a bit of length to them. They are a bit worn because the bristles have spread out, but I see that as somewhat of an improvement. The bristles are very nice and sparse now with this odd bit of wearing. So it definitely still cleans very good. So you also do have situations where the early variants did not cut out part of the brush roll to allow clearance for the ingest bars. The bristles, whatever left with them, will run right into the ingest bar, and some will get cut off and grinded away, which is an unfortunate thing on these, but it is what it is. The single rows were the same issue. However, later models with the full length of bristles would go to the 4-wire bottom plate. That, for the most part, prevented it, and you still had more bristles, but that's just how these were on the early style Elites, even with the dual row brush roll. The later ones with the single row brush roll would do the same thing until I think it was like 99 when they finally moved to the brush roll design with the cutouts, so you never had to worry about any brush roll grinding away on bristles for when it hits the bottom plate. But now let's go ahead and turn this thing on its back to show you the model number. This is Hoover Cleaner model U4689-910, 120 volts, 60 hertz. This has a 7 amp motor, which definitely makes this a later style of Elite. There was another variant of this same model number of Elite 2 that would come with a 6.4 amp motor that I was originally after, but I eventually got this because it was the one that was available and still was overall good shape, although there was some things I had to do to it. And as you can see, the serial number on this, the way to date these old Hoovers is the first and second digit will decode the month, third and fourth decodes the year. 0792, so this vacuum was made in July of 1992. Bag type A, and this belt type 38528-027, now known as 38528-040, for household use only, made in the USA. That is one thing to love about these old Hoovers, is that they are US made. So as we come right here along the back, here are your attachments. Couldn't find any gray attachments for it for the time being, so I just stuck these black ones on, mostly to see how they would look and how I would like them. So far they kind of look good, although eventually I'll have to find some more gray attachments, just so that they blend in and look more period correct. I do have another extra white extension wand though, so I got that out of the way. And so now let's go ahead and get to the part you guys have been wanting to see, the turning on and running of this. So let's go ahead and release the cord, which on this model, this definitely does have a fairly decent length of cord. It's got to at least almost be in the 30-foot range. So you definitely cover a lot of ground before needing to stop and plug into another outlet. And I also like the fact that the cord is still the original white cord, so there's some piece of originality to it. So let's go ahead and plug this guy in. And then we will go ahead and turn this thing on. And there's one little issue with the cord here. The strain relief is a bit torn right here, so it doesn't hold as steady, but there's still no tears in the cord, so I don't see as much of a need to replace it for right now. You have to deal with that little nuisance of having a torn strain relief. But anyway, let's go ahead and turn this thing on and give you a run. Typical Elite fashion, you do have your power switch on the side of the cleaner. That's actually a main plastic rod that runs down into where a main rocker switch is in the valley of the motor. In typical Elite fashion, this thing is pretty loud when it's running, so headphone users, I would advise turning down your volume for this part. So, here we go. Runs very nice and smooth. Definitely sounds good. I didn't have to do anything to the motor when I bought it. So that's one nice plus. Before we end the video, let's go ahead and demonstrate this in its tool mode. So let's go and flip up the little attachment door and attach the hose like that. Now, because this is direct air, it is known to produce more airflow than suction, so don't expect miracles for suction power at the hose. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory. This thing does run a bit loud. Maybe I will have to do some things to the motor, like oil up the bearings, because this likely wasn't used with tools very much. So when the motor speeds up, it definitely is showing just how dry these bearings are getting. So I think you guys could probably hear that this clearly wasn't been used with the tools very often, so may need to have a little bit of motor work done to it, but using it as a normal vacuum it seems to do okay with, which is kind of odd. So eventually I will have to rectify that one of these days, but for right now it works good just how it is. Well, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this video on the Hoover Elite 2 Total System Performance 650. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.